Hello everybody and welcome on to Clydebridge station, and today a modelling idea for you. Now it's the first modelling idea that I've done in 2026, and there'll be 3 modelling ideas coming along later this year as part of the Network South East at 40 celebrations on this YouTube channel. But those won't be in the actual, although on the YouTube channel, they will not be in the Clydebridge station series. But today's modelling idea I've got for you is in the Clydebridge station series, and it's one that's very close to my heart, and in fact was also one very close to, or would have been one very close to my late mum's heart, because we're going to look at Steps railway station. Now just before we actually take a look at the actual station itself, I must explain that my late mum Mary came from Lanarkshire originally, and she'd known about going to a house in Steps, on a street in Steps, and the house number was 22. And during 2017 we went out to the town of Steps one day and were asking around for information and that, and we actually got talking to a person eventually who took us down to another house. We just had to wait there and then got given a phone number to ring that night. My mum certainly did ring that number, and it turns out that, in fact, I have an auntie that lives in Steps, and I've got a cousin that lives there as well, and she's got 2 lovely daughters, and my cousin's husband as well. In addition to that, I've got an auntie and uncle in Greater Manchester, and also, unbelievably, I've got family in Australia, in Perth, and in fact, and my cousin's husband, he's got a son in Auckland in New Zealand, and I was actually chatting to him on Christmas Day when I was over at my family for Christmas lunch, where I was chatting to him briefly as well. He plays rugby union, not professionally at the moment, but he plays rugby union, and me and him had a good chat for a few minutes. The only thing he doesn't like about me is that I support Hawke's Bay. That's my New Zealand domestic team. He is an Auckland man. But if there was any consolation in my mum's passing in 2021, it was that she found that family in 2017 in Steps. And so I've decided today, with 2026 being the 5th anniversary of my mum's death, it's perhaps appropriate that she choose Steps as a modelling idea for you. And it's actually quite a simple one. Steps station, as you know it today, is electrified. The platforms are quite long. But that wasn't the case when the station opened on the 15th of May 1989. And in fact, I've got a photo in an edition of Motive Power Monthly magazine that I'll show you during this programme, that my family have seen as well. I'll tell you a little funny story about that later on. Today's Steps station opened, as I say, on the 15th of May 1989, and it's served by trains on the Cumbernauld to Glasgow Queen Street High Level line. On the same day, another station on this line at Greenfalls, 1 mile east of Cumbernauld station, opened as well. In fact, there were 5 stations opened in the SPTE network that day. The station originally had platforms capable of taking just 4-car trains, and the road bridge was a simple 1800s brick build construction. Now we'll talk about what you would need for that in a couple of minutes. Looking west from the station road bridge, there's some playing fields and a little burn, as you want to call it, or stream as you might call it in England and Wales, running beyond the platforms. And on the right hand side there's nowadays new houses built on the eastern side of the station, but at the time this was just all waste ground with a couple of trees and that, but it's all houses now. As I say, you'll see in the photo what I'm referring to in a few minutes. And in fact, I know the station quite well because I take my Auntie Kathleen's dog Nala down there for a walk every time I visit. The station had unusual shelters, not the bus shelter type ones that you have today, but normal old style shelters. They're more very metallic than anything else, and we'll see them in a couple of minutes. Now the station, as I say, has got a road bridge at one end, but also just a couple of hundred metres west as you travel, there's another road bridge, which is actually where the original station was sited, which closed in 1951. And those two bridges would make great scenic breaks. The track itself is completely straight through the station, and all passenger trains in service call at the station. To my knowledge, even back in 1989 when the station opened, there was no freight. Now, there was on this line the Gartcosh Steelworks, but that closed in 1986, so you won't have any freight on the line. Another thing that's worth mentioning to you about Step Station is that there's a scout hall built just behind the station, on what you might call the northern side of it, the eastbound platform, and a small car park there. There's also a small car park further south in Cardown Road for the station as well, built on the site of an old hall. So before we go into looking at what materials you need in that, I think it might be a good idea to have a look at the actual photograph of Step Station on its opening day, 15th of May 1989. The 15th of May 1989 was a significant one for the Railways of Scotland because, as well as Step Station, which I'll show you in a minute, this photograph here by CGM Loftus shows a Class 101 DMU on the then new Fife Circle service. This saw the line between Cardenden and Thornton Junction, which had previously for many years been used only by goods traffic and empty stock workings, received passenger trains for the first time, and saw Cardenden and Lochgelly get a much improved train service with an hourly service in each direction, the so-called Fife Circle. There we go, that's a sprinter unit. But this is the main topic here that we're going to look at, and this is Step Station, like the two photos I've shown you there on the 15th of May 1989. Now, the photograph was by Tom Noble, and it shows Strathclyde livery DMU number 107740 leaving Steps with the 1014 Glasgow Queen Street to Cumbernauld. The first thing we can see here is how short the platforms are compared to today's Step Station. It could take 4 cars, whereas today's Step Station can take up to 7 cars. Notice the fence as well. Scale model scenery make that fence, and you can see the lamp posts in the background there, which we'll talk about shortly. Various companies make them. There's the shelters I'm on about, just visible there, but I think you'll need to actually scratch build them. The waste ground that you see in the background there is where houses are now. And notice that it goes up to the next bridge, which I think is about 150 metres away. That'll do as a scenic break, as with the Cardown Road Bridge, which Tom took this photo from. And notice how straight the line is, and the signalling is up there and just out of sight there. This is a really simple layout to make if you ever wanted to choose steps. It's really, really simple indeed. So, as I say, for those who are making their first layout, steps is a really good choice. But I think it's perhaps fair to say that you would need to actually run quite a lot of trains in passenger service, because there's very, very little else on here. It's a simple half-hourly service that you have coming through Steps. Well, that's what the station looked like on its opening day in 1989. But what do you need to build this? Let's have a look. So that's what Step Station looked like in 1989. So what are you going to need to actually construct that station? Well, straight track is obviously going to be the first priority for the main bit. Please remember, I don't go on about the fiddle yards behind, but straight track will be what you'll need first of all. It's really simple, the track layout there. Scale model scenery platform sections I would recommend too, but you don't want them to be too long, the platforms. If they can take a 4-car deep train, such as 2 Class 156 Sprinters, that will be ideal for you. The photos you saw there had a Class 107 in 3-car formation. You'll also need some pavements to make the ramps going down to the platform from Cardown Road. And I would certainly say again, scale model scenery make tarmac texture sheets, texture paper, so I would certainly recommend you try those. To make the ramps going to and from the platform, there's various ways you can do it. Pieces of wood, modelling card from SMS with risers in between, possibly the Woodland Scenics ramp risers. That's the big polystyrene kit that you get. David Watson's used them on his layout at Dean Park Station. They would be ideal for that. Regarding lamp posts going down to the station, various companies make those street lights and ones on the platform, so you will have no problem getting them. The waiting shelters are going to be a different thing altogether, so you may have to use artistic license and maybe either make your own ones or use different ones from the style that you saw in the photograph there. As for the station signs, although the photo was black and white, they would have been at steps named below the plate. On the bottom plate, the top plate would have had Strathclyde Transport. With this being in the SPTE area, it would have been Strathclyde Transport that would have sponsored the station. There are a few companies that do make signs out there, and if you contact them, they may be able to make, or they may already make, signs that you can cut out that have Strathclyde Transport on them. It is worth checking out. One other important thing to mention is the surrounding area. The bridges, again, you'll need, just look at a road bridge going over the railway, or a rail bridge going over a road from the dates from the 1900s or mid 1800s. Again, scale model scenery make those sorts of texture papers, so you should have no problem encountering any papers at all. You'll be absolutely fine there. The waste ground that is there behind the eastbound platform at steps where you saw the Class 107 DMU, you'll have no problem in getting scatter material like that. Lots of companies make them. The Scout Hall, I believe, was actually there at the time in 1989. So if you go into Street View, you'll probably come across this. You'll probably end up coming across the Scout Hall. But normal brick paper of say a 1950s or 1960s style ordinary brick will be absolutely sufficient for you. The Scout sign, you'll probably just have to make your own one up if you want to do that. And a quick mention about road vehicles and buses. My Auntie Kathleen was telling me that there used to be an hourly bus service went up there to a turning circle at the top end of Cardown Road. Well, I'll say a turning circle. It was just like a turning point really, but a lot of it was used by cars. Buses no longer go up there, but if you are interested, I've got an MCW Metro bus on my street scene in Strathclyde Buses livery. If you find one of them, it's by Corgi, stick it on there and that'll be fine. Alternatively, at the time that Step Station opened, it was in the Kelvin Central Buses territory. Whether you can find a Kelvin Central Buses liveried vehicle of the period 1989 to 91, I don't know. But if you get one of them, you could stick it on the layout as well, as if it was going into steps. So what's the sort of rolling stock that you're going to need? Well, There's no freight and there were no local hauled passenger trains at the time on Step Station. So your choices are limited but actually quite simple. The Class 107 DMU in Strathclyde Passenger Transport Executive livery is an obvious candidate. Now, I believe Revolution Trains make them, but please, if anybody knows different, put in the comments box below, please. But I believe Revolution Trains make the Class 107 in SPTE livery. At around the time that Step Station opened, the first Strathclyde Transport livery Class 156 Super Sprinters were starting to be delivered. The last one was delivered in January 1990. And again, companies such as Cavalex, I believe, and Revolution Trains make them. If you're in the analogue, if your layout's analogue, not DCC, then the Lima Class 156 was produced in both provincial and Super Sprint and Strathclyde Transport livery, so check those out as well. But yeah, Class 156 Super Sprinter in SPTE livery in 2-car form, if you can get that, that would fit on your layout as well. As I say, they were starting to enter service, and there were 14 of them, 156, 501 to 14. There were a couple of Class 101 DMUs in Strathclyde Passenger Transport Executive livery as well. Now, I don't know if anybody models them or not, but if they do, again, that would not look out of place on your Steps layout as well. Please bear in mind that I'm actually mentioning all these things in the assumption that you're going for 00 gauge, because that's the gauge that I do. Do bear in mind that if you're going for N gauge or TT120, you may have different options. You may have different restrictions on what you can use. So that's Step Station, a station that's quite close to my heart for reasons that I've explained already. The next video on this YouTube channel, well, that'll be the April update, where I'll also have a preview of the Glenrothes Model Railway show, where I'll be wearing this top again. So if you do see me wearing this top, come and say hello. I'll leave you now with an image of the next locomotive in focus that's going to be featured in the April update, and that's 47500 Great Western. And I shall see you soon. Please, whatever you're doing, do take care of yourselves, won't you, and enjoy your layouts, and we'll see you soon. Cheerio!